This here's home to Homesteader down at Pie Valley, Eden, La Terre y Dorte. One of my tasks they left me while I was house sitting was to sturdy up this frame for the netting that goes over here to keep the birds off their two blueberry bushes. Dorothy's been taking great care of these for several years, and they put some netting up around it so the birds wouldn't eat, or I guess after the birds ate the first crop or something like that. So before, we had this support across the top and this support back here across the top. I've added these two, this support and this support back here, which has added a little bit of stability side to side. It was a little more wobbly before. The other thing I'm going to do to shore this up is I think I'm going to take a T-post, one you'd use for a fence, and simply put it on one of these sides directly so it fits in the T. The pipe fits in the T. That'll provide it some more stability. I might actually do that with two of them. Here on the outside, I'll place one so it's putting pressure back up against the structure this is against. And then I'll put the other one here. That'll certainly sturdy up these two outside, give them the same stability as being hooked to that wall over there. And then I'll use some zip ties or something to put the T-post and hold it against the thing. The other thing they found is there's a lot of pine trees and oak trees here, and the needles were falling on and getting caught in the top and weighing it down. So they just had their windows replaced. Here are two of the old ones that haven't been replaced yet. So they're going to take these screens. I don't know if you can see the screen very well. I can see the flowers, but there's a screen here, not one up there. I'm going to take the screens, set them on top of it. That won't keep the needles from falling or the leaves from falling, but allow them with a nice rigid frame to just flip over and get the leaves off instead of getting stuck in the netting. And the other thing they found, they had put the netting all the way down on and around the ground to keep things from getting in, but they found that the lizards and the snakes were getting stuck in there. So I'm only going to come down to about here, leaving about an inch around the bottom. Hopefully that'll keep the creatures that are beneficial, eating bugs and such, from getting trapped in it. And I haven't quite figured out yet, but I think I'll find something maybe a little heavier than this. This old TV antenna, for those of you who might remember before we had cable, we had antennas or something. I'm going to look for something heavier and long, maybe a rebar or something, to put in the bottom of it using some fishing line, and that'll keep it weighted down so that it doesn't sway back and forth in the wind. So those are the improvements I'm going to make. Good idea for you all. If you're growing potted blueberries or something like that, you can build a pretty easy frame out of this PVC pipe and put some netting around it to keep the birds out. I used some really fancy measuring tools. I needed to know what exactly half of this distance was, so I pulled the easiest thing I could. I was looking for string, but I just put the extension cord across there, and then I folded it in half, and that allowed me to make a halfway mark and know where to cut that. The other tools I used, this was the important one I forgot at first, a good old Sharpie or anything to mark the lines on. A lot of times they hold my thumb, and I found in plumbing that doesn't. If I hold my thumb and then cut right to my thumb, that's not as precise as a pin. Use these handy dandy PVC pipe cutters, and you put the pipe in there, clip down, snap. For me, I found these a lot easier than the old style roll it around. The ones for copper tubing, and you gently screwed them in and they got tighter as you went along. And then of course primer and cement, and what this does, the primer actually cleans off the PVC pipe on the end. It's purple. You can see the primer leftovers there. And then that also helps the PVC cement melts the pipe, actually melts the pipes together and forms a good seal. Not so important. We're not going to put any pressure or water through these, but it does. There were a couple places where that PVC cement hadn't melted the pipes completely together that I had to redo while I was here the other day. So pretty easy putting this PVC frame together. I'll put the netting on later. Don't know that you need to see the finished product, but I just thought, I always get excited to say, just saw you like an update on the property, and really make these videos hopefully to provide you some good handy tips, maybe have a little fun, but also hoping that you'll subscribe, share the content, and if there are things you like, that you'll press the thumbs up button. But just saw your leg update on property.